Yes, indeed. You already know what it is, folks. It's your boy Retro with you on tonight. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. I want to thank everybody and their mama for pressing play and joining the show on tonight. We want to talk to you tonight about the subject topic. It ain't real. Come on now, y'all remember back in the days they had a they had a commercial. Is it live or is it Memorex? And so is it live or is it Memorex? And in today's society with social media and all this, that, and the other, we got so much stuff that just ain't real. I think it's difficult to decipher what's real from what's not, what's real from what's fake. And some people are so good with the facade that they get lost in the sauce. Yeah, I said they get lost in the sauce, and they front so long till they themselves forget who the real them is. And so is it live or is it Memorex? By now, everybody and their mama has watched the clip, has saw the this, that, and the other. Let me see if I can adjust this a little bit. Yeah. Chris Rock got slapped in his own terminology. He said, I just got the whatever slapped out of him or whatever. But I'm just gonna jump right into it, man. We ain't gonna be up here too long tonight because I got a hot date downstairs, and it is what it is. So I just don't believe it was real. I mean, y'all with you, man. I mean, everybody has their opinion, I'm sure, and I'm gonna go over some of the reasons why I don't believe it was real. I think it was staged. Number one, we got to understand we're dealing with two actors, one good and so I just when I looked at the clip, folks, Will Smith, first of all, when Chris makes a joke, everybody's laughing. Jada wasn't really laughing, but she kind of had a look on her face like the nerve of you. But to me, in my opinion, she didn't seem to be offended. And real talk, I didn't know until all of this commotion. I didn't even know that she had alopecia. I work with a gentleman, and he came down with it, a serious case of it, and he lost his eyebrows. He lost everything, so I didn't know. And then there are some people who are saying there's no way that Chris Rock didn't know she had it because she's made it public. Well, not everybody's on social media 24/7 looking at everybody else's business when they're trying to handle their own business. So, I mean, it's neither here nor there. But in my opinion, we have two comedians, and this is what they do for a living. They make fun of people, and usually comedians, they kind of get a pass because, again, that's what they do, that's who they are. I don't think it was a now again, I'm not making light of alopecia, but there are other things that people make fun of that are more severe, more detrimental, or whatever you want to call it, than alopecia. But anyway, Will was laughing when he made a joke. Jada, she wasn't really laughing, but she just kind of like, Chris, really? And so it was kind of shocked because then Will gets up, as we all know by now, and he walks up to the stage, and he goes all the way downtown and comes back with it. But when you look at the clip, and I should have had the clip queued up and everything, but when you look at the clip, Chris was almost as if he was expecting it, and so to me, I just think it was fake, man. And but there was one thing that kind of had me a little bit puzzled, and that's when afterwards, when Will begins to say, keep my wife's name out your mouth, and the look on his face was like, he was like, man, he was really, kind of hot about it. But anyway, I just wanted to say that, get it off my chest, because everybody's been talking about it at work and everything. And so if I had to chime in, which I guess I just did, right, I'm gonna lean toward the side of it being a stage. Okay, now we understand that Chris Rock has a tour that's getting ready to come out. He's getting ready to tour a comedy tour. Will Smith has a new movie that just dropped. And then, I mean, the Oscars, I mean, I didn't even know it was on last night. I mean, so what I'm saying is their ratings ain't been the best either. And it's almost, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, saints and ain'ts, everybody, including Lottie Dottie, it is almost as though it is the equivalent to the tit slip. Y'all remember the tit slip years ago at the what do you call it, at the football thing, the halftime show with Janet Jackson and Justin Bieber, and I guess it really fell out, but was it intentional or was it an accident? But it certainly did drum up some publicity, you know what I mean? And so I think we have a publicity stunt, in my own humble opinion. And so it is what it is, man. But I want to talk about another word that came up, okay? Because here I am, I'm balancing. Am I even going to talk about this? If I'm even going to mention it tonight? Because on their worst day, they still making more bread than I am. So they don't know me, they don't care about me. So why am I taking time out of my day? And so as I was on my way home, contemplating whether or not I would even address this subject, a word came to mind. Okay, a word came to mind. Now, and that word is simply this: the bandwagon. Right? Because usually, when we talk about the word bandwagon, it has, and you guys might want to help me out and correct me if I'm wrong. Just stick with me. But anyway, usually when someone uses the word bandwagon, it almost has a negative connotation to it. And it pretty much means that you're doing what everyone else is doing because everyone else is doing it, right? But that is not always a bad thing. Now, I get it. I'm one who is real authenticity and being true to who you are, and I think at some point we all struggle with it to an extent. Because sometimes, in order to get ahead in life, sometimes you are faced with decisions and choices that will make you think you are compromising and make you think that you are selling out. But sometimes you got to have compromise, and sometimes there are some things we need to sell out to. Can I just put that out there? Yeah, yeah. Now, I'm not talking about selling out and losing your soul. I'm not talking about selling out I'm not talking about becoming an Uncle Tom or whatever you may want to call it. But sometimes there are some things that you just need to cash out. The Bible says that when I was a child, I thought as a child, I spake as a child, I understood as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. Okay. And so I tell my children, I've told my kids this more in the past now because they're grown. But I used to tell them all the time, these little friends, when life really matters, they ain't gonna be nowhere to be found. And so sometimes you got to be careful not to get stuck on stupid, not to get stuck like Chuck, because of so-called friends or because of whatever. Sometimes you got to sell out to some stuff. It's almost like when you do some spring cleaning, or a yard sale. Me and my wife have been talking about it, and Lord knows I need to have a yard sale. I got about 1 billion shoes, hats, and all other kind of stuff that just need to get rid of. Just excess stuff. And so we're gonna sell it all out, sell it cheap. And if it ain't moving at that price, guess what? We're gonna slash some prices. $1.25. I just want it gone. Some stuff you got to come to a point in place where it ain't so much about what you get from it. You just really want it gone. If you make a little something on it, fine. You just want it gone. But anyway, there comes a time where there are some things, styles, for instance, right? There are some styles that we had when we were younger, and we did our best to maintain them through our teens and into our young adulthood. But now you've grown. Now, come on now, put some cover up. I mean, there are just some things that you outgrow. Okay, there's some things you outgrow, and you need to just leave it behind. Okay, so again, sometimes we've got to move on. All right. Now, the bandwagon. Let's see who we got watching with us on tonight. Who you got? When you come on and just say something. Jennifer is in the building. What's going on, my good friend? My little sister. How you doing, girl? Good to see you pressing play. Good to see you pressing play. If we're not careful, man, we will find ourselves stuck like Chuck. And we'll be stuck on something that really ain't even real. Because here's the deal: some people will try to hold you accountable to a standard that doesn't really exist. It exists for the purpose of controlling you. It exists for the purpose of it working for their good and for their benefit. They'll set these rules. I'm telling you, man, I've seen it, man. I've seen it countless times. People, they will come up these rules and these bylaws and these mandates and this, that, and the other. And it's good as long as you're abiding by them. But when those same rules and bylaws and mandates and restrictions and whatever else has to apply to them, you will find out that it really ain't real, because now all of a sudden, oh, well, yeah, but now, okay, now they want to change up. I'm just saying, I'm just telling the truth, right? And so again, a lot of times, it's just not real, but yet and still, we're maintaining, or we're holding true to a thing based on something that ain't true anyway. Okay. And so we've got to understand that sometimes we've got to move on. So the bandwagon, people like to say stuff like that, oh, you just jumping on the bandwagon. Look at here. If that bandwagon is moving from poverty to wealth, guess what? If there's room, I'm gonna get on it. My goodness, if I got to hang on by the back gate, I'm gonna hang on by the back gate, because broke I was, but broke no more. I'm gone. I'm out of here. Sometimes you just got to get sick and tired of poverty. You got to get sick and tired of whatever your situation or condition is that's holding you back. That's robbing you of a better life. Come on, somebody. And you've got to do what is necessary to get up out of there. And so, how bad is the bandwagon? I am the kind of person that I don't like to do things just because everybody is doing it, right? But sometimes what everybody is doing ain't bad. I'm just saying, if everybody in your crew getting money and you like, "Oh, I ain't gonna jump on the bandwagon because look at him, man. Look at him, man. Yo, is room for one more? Then let me add it. For crying out loud, let me add it. You know what I mean? And so I don't think that the bandwagon is a negative thing. Well, let me back up a little bit. Let me back up a little bit. Um, I don't think that the bandwagon necessarily has to be looked at or deemed a negative thing. Okay. Now, of course, there are the situations when where everybody is doing it. Okay, let's just say, case in point, there's a fad, right? And now, because Johnny is cool, he's a star basketball player in high school, and so he wears a certain type of style or whatever, and so now everybody else starts to wear it, and it becomes a fad, and now everybody's doing it because he did it. And so now you jump on the bandwagon and you doing it, not so much because you like the style, but you're doing it because everybody else is doing it, and you don't want to be left alone. You don't want to be the oddball not doing it, so you do it just to go along with everybody else. Now that's the negative side of things. Now, if everybody else is doing something and you see worth in it, you see substance in it, you see a way out, you can fit yourself in, then by all means fit yourself in. I'm just tired of people holding people back because what they want to do is it takes them from where those people are. Okay, now here you are right here, and this is your little world right here. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, well, this is where they are. This is their little world, right? And all of a sudden, you get a bright idea that this place right here can't contain you. It can't hold you no more. It ain't helping you no more. As a matter of fact, it's hurting you. And so you see an opportunity come by. Yeah, there's an opportunity. And so you say, you know what? I think I'm gonna look into that. And then they'll start calling you a sellout. They'll start saying, you jumping on the bandwagon, you doing this, you doing that. Look at here, man. If this right here is gonna work for me, then I'm gonna have to work with it, man. But again, as I said, I'm not one that likes to do things because everybody else is doing it. But if everybody happens to do what I deem to be worthwhile for me, then watch out now. Excuse me. Let me get in here. Excuse me. Pardon me. Excuse me. Yeah, I got to get in here. As they say, get in where you fit in. You know what I mean? And make the doggone thing work. All right. It's too late in the day for us to allow people to browbeat us, to allow people to there's some words. There's some words to try to mind control us, use mind control. Here's a good one. Reverse psychology. You know, you remember you as kids, you said, I bet you won't give me that piece, that last piece of cake, or whatever it is, you know, and oh yes, I will here, you know, and you know, so it was reverse psychology. And there's a lot of people that are good at that. Yeah, there's a lot of people that are real good at that reverse psychology game. All right. And you will find that in all walks of life. Because here's what I find out, man. Because we talk about church hurt, we talk about this, that, and the other, and but the problem is, it ain't it ain't so much the church, is those that have crept in the church. Who was it? Paul, the apostle Paul said, he said they have crept in unaware and led captive silly women, you know. And so it's not so much that the church is all jacked up like a lot of people want to point it out to be. Yes, the church has some problems, but so don't your job, so don't your club, so don't your business. I mean, everything has problems, everything and everywhere you're gonna have. Anytime you got people, you're gonna have some problems, folks. I promise you, you will. Eddie Bird is in the building. Yes, sir. Make your presence known. There you go. That part right there. And truth be told, bro, that's why a lot of people will talk negative and try to mess with your mind to keep you from going further, to keep you from pursuing your dreams and and make the accomplishments and things of that nature, because they are afraid that you're gonna outshine them, or they're afraid that your presence is gonna make them no longer present or whatever. You know what I mean? And that right there is stinking thinking. That right there is just, I'm saying, that don't make no sense. I just never could understand that. And maybe I'm a little tainted with this topic because I have experienced it countless times. I mean, it's just like, like, good lord. I mean, what do I have, a magnet for these kind of dudes, these kind of folks? I ain't gonna name no names, but anyway, you got to make your presence known. You got to make your presence known. Right now, everybody's got a YouTube show, right? Everybody's going live on Facebook, and there was a time when I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna fall back because this one doing it, that one doing it. But then I realized, dude, it ain't getting on the bandwagon. I'm just finding my lane. You know what I mean? I can't do their show, they can't do my show. I just got to be me and stay true to who I am, and I'm just gonna keep it real. You know what I mean? And so, hey, it's the Retro Philosophy Show, y'all. What you feel about that? And I just hope and pray, real talk, that somebody will be encouraged through what we are doing through this platform. You know what I mean? Because as they say, each one reach one, each one teach one. But there's a lot of stuff that we encounter, and from a distance, and from one perspective, and from one presentation of the matter, we would be like, "Ooh, I can't do this," or "Ooh, I shouldn't this or that," or whatever. But I think we need, to begin to test some stuff. I don't know if any of you guys remember this, but back in the day, they had this stuff. I think it was called litmus paper, excuse me, or something like that, or litmus test or whatever. And that's what we have to begin to do to some things. He says, my grandmother used to say, uh, it's your little red wagon. You can push or you can pull it. There you go. There you go. And that's real good advice from grandma. And see, that's the thing, man. We got some grandmamas and some granddaddies and some uncles and things like that, and some folks, some uncles in the neighborhood, and they were seasoned. They had been through a few things, and they could speak, and folks would listen. But nowadays, folk done got too big for their britches and won't listen to wise counsel. And that's a whole nother show and a whole nother issue that should be addressed, because the respect is no longer there. Whether you in the church, in the streets, or anywhere else. We talking about, we talked initially about Will Smith and what's his name? What's his name? Good Lord. I'm drawing a blank right now, real talk. But anyway, about Will Smith and Chris Rock. There we go, Chris Rock. It was just disrespectful. I mean, and then they're gonna say, well, he was standing up and he was protecting his wife. No, he wasn't. No, no. It had more to do with him than it did with her. I'm just saying. Because just a while ago they had an open relationship. That wasn't why he didn't stand up and protect his wife then. And But anyway, I digress. I digress. Um, Mel- Melinda is in the building, aka Sunny. What's going on, girl? How you doing? How are you doing? There you go, Chris Rock. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I had a moment. I had a senior moment, and um, but anyway, and so the respect is no longer there. Half the problems that we are addressing, we wouldn't have to address if folks would just learn to operate in good old fashioned respect. You know what I mean? Furthermore, here we have, she said, hello, sunshine. Here we have two supposedly professionals. Now, let me just go ahead and pat Chris Rock on the back. Okay, not Pookie, but Chris Rock. Okay, because Chris Rock handled it like a gentleman. And again, I am leaning toward the side of it all being staged, to an extent. But if it was not real, Chris Rock handled it like a real stand-up gentleman. I mean, he didn't he still continued to go on now he better than me. And with that said and done, can we be real for a minute? Can we just park it on just for a moment? Now, I like Will Smith, I like Chris Rock, right? And ever since summertime, and matter of fact, we go further back than that, with him and DJ Jazzy Jeff, right? But I promise you on everything that had that been had it been Eddie Murphy, had it been you name any of these other comedians, I guarantee you Will Smith wouldn't have got up there and done what he did. But because it was Chris Rock, he's kind of a little bit more docile and more kind of laid back, and he don't really have that hood presence to him at all, you know what I'm saying? And so had that been an earthquake or what's his name ready to come down to Charlotte, Mike Epps, come on now, Steve Harvey, DL Hewley, oh come on now, y'all know doggone well it wouldn't have went that way. So therefore, if it wouldn't have went that way with DL Hewley or Mike Epps or my God, Cat Williams, he wouldn't even done it to Cat Williams. I mean, I'm saying so. Therefore, if it was real, it was fake. Still at the same time. I mean, you understand what I'm saying? It's a facade, man. A facade, man. And I think that Will Smith, I think he needs help. I think Will Smith is hurting so deeply with the way his relationship and all this. I think the brothers in pain, and I think he might need some help. Now my son, who I tried to get to come on the show tonight, and he rejected the invitation. I mean go figure, right? But before I got ready to come on, he was showing me a clip of that they caught him coming off stage, and Samuel Jackson was at the bottom of the stage and dapped him up and everything, and was all laughing and everything. But Samuel's a mess, man. But had it been Samuel, it wouldn't have went down that way. It wouldn't have went down that way. You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm just here tonight talking about the fact that a lot of stuff we see ain't real. Some of the things that some of the things that derail us are not real. I preached a message one time: don't let a decoy cause you to okay. And a decoy is something that's fake. It's not real. It's presented for the purpose of getting you off track, from taking your attention from where your attention really needs to be focused at. Okay. And we see that all the time in television, right? And the news and stuff like that. They will highlight one story to take your attention off of another story. They will try to divert your attention from what you really need to be focusing on to, you know what I'm saying, to something that was created just for the purpose of getting you off track, losing focus, because most of the times it's the sleight of hand, right? Yeah, you distract, and boom, do you work your so-called magic and tell them it was magic when it wasn't really magic, it was just trickery. Okay. So how many of you have been tricked, duped, hoodwinked, bamboozled, and fooled? That's a good question. I'm guilty because I know I have. You know what I'm saying? But the thing about it, the thing that I love is that regardless of the fact that you were grimy, okay, regardless of the fact that you tricked me, but if I learn from it, now I got the upper hand. Okay. And so let us not become stagnant. Let us not become paralyzed in the fact that we were tricked. Uh, but let us learn from it and then move on. Yeah, yeah. Now, I've had a situation that, let's see here. Sonny says, I think it is a shame that we have once again become divided over right and wrong. The truth is the truth, right is right, and wrong is wrong. So why did they censor America but left the rest of the world, but let the rest of the world see him show his you know what? We need to get back to values, respect, and truth. And I agree 100%. I went what you call it this week. I went mobile, and so I don't have, let me see here. I don't have my stuff set back up. Let me see if I got it because this one, yeah, yeah, let's see here. Where we at? That ain't what I want. Oh, hold on, y'all. Bada boom, bang, bang. Let me see what we got. Okay, there we go. That's what I needed. That's what I needed. That right there, Sonny, deserves a round of applause one more time. Okay. Yeah, real talk though. We got to get back to what is true and respect and real values. Real values, okay? And if you ask me, we lost it because of the box. Yeah, the old folk used to call it the one-eyed devil, the TV, and it's getting worse and worse and worse because now you're no longer bound by a box in the living room because everybody's got one of these things. You know what I'm saying? A little computer, and you walk around and you got all this stuff at your fingertips, and most of the stuff we see. I was looking at something now. If you look at my YouTube channel, right? I probably have I've got several videos up from my show and stuff like that, but you can count on one hand the amount of videos that I have that have actually been edited and because you can take and edit a video to make it sound and look like and present something that it's not really 100%. And so you got to be careful because in this on this thing called social media, they can take, okay, case in point, I'm gonna be real. Now I've told this story at church, and it's the truth, so I'm gonna say it. And if they hear it, so what? I'm look at it. But anyway, I went to a church one night, right, for a preacher that I knew where they were having I think it was an anniversary service. So I went to church to visit and support them. And the preacher, he preached pretty good. He had a good little hoop to him, and he was, he preached well. He preached well. And so he was sharing with those who were in attendance that they were having a meeting coming up soon, right? So okay, so I checked him out online, and he had a couple of other good videos on there. He even had a little prophetic word he released, and so I said, okay, well we'll go check him out. And so we went to go check out the service, and when I got there, I was like, yo, because on the video everything just looked so polished. The background behind the pulpit was so nicely thought out and decorated, and it was just really nice. But that was the only place in the building that was put together. The rest of the place, the carpet was tore up, the seats was all it was just I was just like, oh, and so there's so much stuff that we see that really ain't real. It's just the portion that they let you see. And you'll mess around and you'll give up on your dreams because of the way they made something look, when in all actuality it was nothing but a facade. Let's see here. Sonny says, we need to step away from the media and TV. We need to get out and shake hands. Real talk. Get back to communication and community. I agree with you. I agree with you. We have experienced this thing called COVID, right? And COVID is real. We have all been affected by it one way or another. Many of us, if not all of us, have lost a loved one, myself included. All right. But even the whole COVID thing, how much of it was real? How much of it was just, what comes to my mind, because I'm a scripture dude, right? So the Bible says a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump, right? And so in other words, all it takes is a little, and like that yeast. I remember in home ec, right? Miss Cook, if you're watching, God bless you, Miss Cook. God bless you. She was my home ec teacher. Okay, but anyway, and home ec, they taught us about the yeast and how you put a little bit in and make the bread rise and everything. And that's what we have in this thing called life. So many people they're cooking with so much yeast, and it's just blown up and looks so big when all actuality it don't hold no weight. It don't hold no weight. So the whole coronavirus and everything, even though there was a real side to it, how much of it was hyped up, and then they shut us down. We stopped, fellowshipping. We stopped shaking hands. We stopped hugging, and to this day it's still awkward because I am a hugger, and so when I'm doing business and stuff like that, normally I would end it in a handshake, a little dap up or whatever. But now, everybody's just, and so I'm saying all that to say, Melinda, I agree with you, and I think we need to get back to shaking hands and just communication and all that stuff. We really need to. We really need to. So, what are your comments, folks? Telephone number is scrolling at the bottom of the screen, 980-222-4492. It's your boy Retro with you on tonight. We're talking about the fact that it ain't real. It ain't real. And sometimes sometimes you have to question what they put in front of your face, because sometimes, as I said, it's the old bait and switch. Yeah, the old bait and switch. Yep, that part right there. um, okay, let's see here. Melinda says, your church holds the key to our salvation. I appreciate you, your family, and the church. Well, that is so kind of you. We appreciate you as well. And I think one of the biggest responsibilities that the church owes to the community and to the world is, number one, that we have to maintain true to the preparation of souls for an eternal destiny. And one of the best ways to prepare souls for an eternal destiny is to just keep it real, Jack. I'm just saying. I mean, just keep it real. We are a upper, and our church she's referring to is Upper Praise Ministries, located 442 Westmore Avenue in Mooresville, North Carolina. Okay, we are a small church. And we put a few videos out, whether you think they're good or not. It is what it is. But I refuse to try to appear as something that we are not. Okay, now, there are a lot of churches and a lot of people who are doing some things that I have found to be beneficial. So I said, well, you know what? That seems to be beneficial. I think it can work for us too. And so we'll follow suit, because guess what? At the end of the day, a good idea is just that. Yeah. Boom. I mean, it is what it is. At the end of the day, a good idea is just a good idea. And then you have some people who go to the other extremes because you came up with the ideal. They refuse to follow it. The last thing they want to do is let you get credit for a good idea. And so they will sit there. You better say that, girl. You better say that, small but mighty. But some folks will sit there and they will starve to death before they let it be known that you got some good food. Because that's the kind of crazy world that we're living in. That's the kind of crazy world that we are living in, folks. And so I just want to, again, I want to encourage everybody to keep it moving, and don't always be moved by what you see, and again, just to hone back in on the whole bandwagon thing. How bad is it that you jumped on the bandwagon? If that bandwagon led you to liberty, led you to freedom, led you to prosperity, led you to love, led you to hope, led you to a better place, led you to the real you. Come on, somebody. I mean to tell you, man, look at here. I don't care if it's a bandwagon, a scooter, a unicycle, for crying out loud. If it's going to take me from where I am to where I need to be, watch out, Jack. Let me watch out. Make way, because retro's on the way. Yeah, watch out, because I'm coming, dog. I'm telling you, I'm coming. I'm coming. But I think it's a place that we've got to get to in life. It's a place that we got to get to with ourselves, and stop letting the enemy trick you. You know what I'm saying? I've got a pet peeve because there are a lot of times where people be like, "Nah, man, I'm just keeping it real, son. You know what I mean? I'm keeping it real, man. I ain't with all that school stuff. Look, dude, you might not be with all that school stuff, but that don't mean you got to stay in the hood. That don't mean you got to keep on trying to sell drugs. I mean, keep on trying to scam folk and rob folk and stuff like that. You might not be, school ain't for everybody, college ain't for everybody, but a good trade might work wonders for you and your family and your children and your children's children. You know what I'm saying? And so at some point or another, man, we just got to wake up and smell the coffee. Yeah, yeah, we got to wake up and smell the coffee. Let me switch gears real quick. Switch gears real quick. Some people come up with all these excuses because they sound tougher. They sound real. They sound like they keeping it real, when in all actuality, they're full of fear. Because sometimes it's easier to keep on selling those drugs than it is to step out on faith, than it is to step out and trust a vision, a dream. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, I'm let's just be real about it. Um, man, look here. You getting that money, but where's it leading you? Let me take a swig on that one. I've heard it over and over again. You don't know many. I'm not saying there isn't an exception to the rule, but you don't know many drug dealers that retire. And you understand what I'm saying? And so, come on, man. I think anybody that's out there still hustling, um, I, look, there's another way. I mean, you got countless examples that will tell you there is another way. Okay, so folks, it ain't real. You talking about, well, look, man, they won't give me a job. They won't. Well, stop asking for a job and create a business. I'm saying, any excuse we come up with, truth be told, there's a remedy for that excuse. Because excuses. I heard Elder Ricky Lewis say this years ago. He said excuses only satisfy those who make them. I'll say it one more time in honor of Ricky Lewis, Pastor Ricky Lewis. Excuses only satisfy those who make them. I promise you, he ain't got nothing to do with your excuses. Now, I think that at best, hear me good, at best, a good excuse is nothing but an explanation. Okay, it might explain why you late, but it doesn't excuse the fact that you're late. Because if you knew your car was raggedy, then you need to get up a half hour earlier. If come on, somebody, you got caught in traffic. I'm sure that's not the first time you going down that road. Doggone well 77 a backup, especially when you get to the water. I don't know why they just can't drive across the daggone bridge. And so because you know that, then you ought to prepare yourself and leave a little bit earlier. Come on now. I'm just saying. I'm giving you an example that excuses really only satisfy the one who made the excuse. It makes you feel better about what happened, but it doesn't excuse you from the responsibility that goes with the situation or the circumstance. James is in the building, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, saints and ain'ts. Let's give it up for Mr. Perilla in the building. All because it's nice and shiny, don't make it a diamond. You better believe it. It might be a cubic zirconia. It might be just one of them little crystals, or what was it? Echoes, I believe it was. No, matter of fact, it might have been home ec, where we learned to make that crystal candy or whatever. I think they would do like some sugar and something else, and it was almost like they was cooking up something else, but it ended up being candy, I guess. But anyway, and it would be shiny. You know what I'm saying? But just because it's shiny, don't make it a diamond. Okay, and quite the contrary. The flip side of that, it might be dirty and ugly and nasty looking, but it could be a diamond in the rough. You understand where I'm getting at? And so you got to realize that sometimes you got to just deal with the pressure and understand that pressure is working together for your good. Who am I talking to on tonight? I don't know. Who am I talking to? All right. It ain't real, folks. It ain't real. So don't be so quickly moved by what you see, because oftentimes it just ain't real. All right. Now, I want to say this to you. You, my dear friend, are the real deal. Yeah, yeah. Look in the mirror, and the image that's looking back at you. I want you to know that's real. Okay, that's real. And whatever you're gonna do in life, do it for that person. Do it for the one that's looking at you in the mirror. Okay. Now, can we be honest? It's not like every time I've looked in the mirror, I like the image that was looking. No, there have been days where I didn't even want to look in the mirror. If I had my way, I would pull down every mirror in the house because I get to that point sometimes where I'm just not happy with me. You know what I mean? I just don't days where I borderline don't like me. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I am me, and I got to be real with myself and realize that I am the real deal. And what I do, I'm not saying that my family and my loved ones don't contribute to the reasons why I do things, but ultimately, I got to do it for me, and you say I'm doing this for my kids, and yeah, you are, but let's not fool ourselves. You're doing it for you too. You got people who like to give, right? But and they like to do deeds and things like that. But when you notice now, a lot of times they're doing it, and they're doing it like this. Oh yeah, we're giving to the poor. And I'm always trying to get me a little video or something like that because I'm trying to do what I do, right? But there have been plenty of times where I do what I do, and this is never anywhere to be found. Because not everything that you do has to be on front page. You understand what I'm saying? And so don't get it twisted and think what you see coming from me on social media is everything that I do, because it's not. All right. Because a lot of stuff we do, you wouldn't know. My mama used to tell me when I was young, sometimes you can't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, and then she would say sometimes, if I was hungry, you wouldn't know. Oh boy, because folks is a pure D mess. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Dan, how you doing, sir? Bless you, brother. Bless you, bless you, bless you. Thank you for pressing play and being a part of the Retro Philosophy show on today. There's so much stuff out here that's just not real. Jesus. Can Let's just throw a little Bible in here, right? Jesus, y'all have heard this story, I'm sure, and if not, you got your iPhone or your Android. Google it when I get done, okay? Because there's a story in the Bible. There's a instance in the Bible where Jesus curses a fig tree. Okay. Now there we go, brother. Man, I'm telling you, James. I'm telling you, we got to get the shirt, brother. We got to get the shirt. Hashtag press play. You already know what it is. And so Jesus, he curses a fig tree, right? Now here he is. He's traveling with his disciples. They've been traveling. They're hungry, and so from a distance, he looks and he sees the fig tree. Now, the fig tree is identified by the foliage, right? So it was, but here's the deal. Not only is it identified, you know what I'm saying? You can see a tree, and then based on the leaves, you can tell what kind of tree it is, right? And so he knows it's a fig tree. But during this season or during this time, in other words, whenever the leaves were there, then the figs should be present as well, right? But when he gets to the tree, he's traveling. He gets to the tree from a distance. Okay. I'll put it this way: the leaves are normally indicative that fruit are there. Okay, so now he gets to the tree, and guess what? Nothing but foliage, no fruit, no figs. So he cursed the tree because the tree was a lion tree. The tree had the leaves but didn't have the fruit. And that's what a lot of folk do, man. They got the leaves but ain't no fruit. And so he curses the fig tree, man. I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, one of the disciples was pretty much saying, well, give us some time. Let us dig around and see if maybe we can, prune it or do what's necessary to get this thing to do right. And some folk, no matter what you do, they just ain't gonna do right. Uh-huh. Some folk just ain't gonna do right. Jesus was having a conversation with one of his disciples by the name of Judas Iscariot, right? Now Judas is the one who sold him out, right? And so Jesus, and I just mentioned this on Sunday because when they came for Jesus, they didn't even know who he was. They didn't know which one was Jesus from which one was Peter. Well, they might have known Peter. He got that big old sword, and he was probably known. But my point is, nowadays we got these leaders that want to be so, especially when it comes to church, they. But anyway, I digress. So when they show up, Judas says, I will identify him with a kiss. The one you see me kiss, he is the Christ. Okay. So Judas sells him out. He kisses him, identifying that he was the leader, identifying that he was the Christ. But then Jesus says to Judas, he says, whatever you do, do it quickly. Now, after being sold out, Jesus gives Judas this advice: whatever you do, do it quickly. Now, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, saints and ain'ts, everybody, especially Lottie Dottie, what Jesus was telling Judas in so many words was, look, bro, you can still repent from this. See, you think just because you sold Christ out that you're damned. No, the devil be damned, not you. You think just because you slept with so and so, just because you stole such and such, just because you smoke wiki whack or whatever that you done. Nah, the devil be damned, not you. You can literally repent out of it. Yeah. Now when we talk, and I ain't get on here to have church, but we don't push me now. Don't push me. Since we gonna go there, right? Now you got to understand, we've got to understand that if we sin, we have an advocate with the Father. Okay, he's faithful and he's just, he will forgive us of those sins. However, repentance means turning away from the thing, the sin, the act, the lifestyle. It literally means turning away from it. Repentance is not just that you're sorry about it. Look here, there's some stuff I repented over and repented out of that, good Lord, it wasn't like it was bad to it was bad, but you come on, let's just be real. And so repentance doesn't mean you're sorry that you did it always. You are, but in other words, it mean the important part is that you turn from it. Joseph, when Joseph was tempted, because there was some temptation there, when what was it, Potiphar's wife, where she tried to seduce Joseph. Joseph ran, not because he was scared, not because he didn't want it, but because it was getting pretty hot up in here. I mean, I can imagine in my mind's eye that Joseph was like, man, if I don't get up out of here, I'm gonna do something I ain't supposed to do. And sometimes that's what we got to do. We got to turn from a thing, and sometimes we got to run from it. Sometimes we got to change our number. You talking about, well, he keep calling. Well, change your number. I'm just saying, block him or her. He keeps sliding in my DMs. Well, block him. Yo, block him. You get your block game up, because if you don't stop him from sliding in them DMs, he might slide in something else, slide in them guts or something. I'm just, let me stop. Let me stop. Y'all forgive me. Y'all forgive me. Y'all forgive me. All right, y'all. All right, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. So Jesus gives Judas the opportunity to literally repent. But my point is, some folk, even when they're given the opportunity to do right, they just ain't gonna do right. Right. And some of us, we got more grace than God. Turn and sin no more. Because you know what he said to the woman, I believe it was the woman that was taken in adultery, right? He says, where are those thine accusers? And he says, go and sin no more. Yeah, that's what he told her. He said, go and sin no more. And so I thank God, because he's a kind and he's a loving God, but he's also a God. The Bible tells us that is terrible out of his holy hill. You come on now, just like grandmama told you. All right, now y'all keep on playing now. Y'all keep on playing, and then that little bitty grandma messed around, and yeah, she come back with that switch that she done braided up, and she come through there, and she just like she lighting everybody up. Man, come on now. Top of the evening, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, saints and angels, everybody, including Lottie Dottie. Let's give it up for my main man, Chris Houston. He's in the building. Top of the evening. I see you in your thing, man. They're coming in from the east and from the west, from the north and from the south. They're hitting up the I-10 end to end. And you know what? It's not a challenge. It's an experiment. It's a social experience, a social experiment. Each one reach one, each one teach one. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching the show tonight, or maybe the replay, and you ride a motorcycle, scooter, or whatever, and I want you to go check out my homeboy right here, Chris Houston. You can also go check out his Iron Elite page. We had the honor of being down there back in February. Was it, Chris? I think it was back in February. Awesome event. I want you guys to go and check out his social media platforms. You can also find him on YouTube. And he's doing some big things, and he's inspiring people. He certainly inspired me and my wife, and we went down there. Show you right. You already know what it is. You dig? Come on now. You know how we do it. You know how we do it. And so it certainly inspired my wife and I. We went down there, met with him and his lovely wife, broke bread, and then we took off down the coast. Yeah, all the way down I-10 to the end. and had a wonderful time. Life change. It was in February. That's right. It was in February. Had a life changing time. Life changing time. All right. And so you can catch the Iron Elite event come next February and 2023. And it's gonna be awesome, just like it was this year. Okay. So again, make sure if you guys, especially if you ride motorcycles, but the reality is it's not only for those who ride motorcycles. The Iron Elite event is for families, and I think it's important. And I think we've got to do more. And again, we're talking about it ain't real. You find out a lot of us brothers out here and sisters for that matter on these twos and threes, walk around and create a facade that really ain't real, and that's a whole nother story for a whole nother show. But again, the reality is, I think we got to get back to what's real. You know what I mean? And so that's family. That's family, and so again, the Iron Elite is a family event, not just for those of us who ride motorcycles. So folks, that's what we're talking about on tonight. It ain't real. You gotta watch out for the okey doke, because the enemy will mess around and have you thinking you can't progress. Will have you mess around thinking that you can't move on. Will have you messing around thinking that it's done and it's over with. Nah, man, I might have got knocked down, but I ain't knocked out. Come on now. I mean, I might be seeing stars, but I'm getting ready to get back up. And again, let me get back to this thing because, you know, the power of sin, uh, let me say it this way. The Bible says that when sin has its complete work or its complete way, or when it's fulfilled, it brings about death. Okay. But through the power of God, come on, somebody, we can triumph over sin. I mean, we can triumph over it. Um, James Perilla, you already know what it is, man. Hashtag yonder, hashtag ground and pound. Man, I'm telling you, I'm itching right now, man. I'm telling you, I'm itching right now, man, to get out there on that road and get me some yonder. Me and the team, we've been talking about a couple rides that we got scheduled. We're going to be heading up to the Maryland area in May. We got the Four Corners plan. That's going to probably take place sometime in June, June or July, more than likely, probably June. Um, Hold on, slow down, y'all. Not the four corners of the United States. That's for a later time. But for this year, we're going to do the four corners of our state, the state of North Carolina. Okay. So if you are in the North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia area, or hey, it don't matter where you at. If you want to come down and ride with Kingdom Alignment Motorcycle Ministry, holla at your boy. We will send you the details. It's going to be an awesome trip. So tentatively, the plan is to leave the Charlotte area and head up to Wilmington, North Carolina. Okay. We'll probably spend the night in Wilmington, get up in the morning, and we're gonna shoot up to Kitty Hawk, ride all the way up or all the way up the coast there, and enjoy the scenery and get some good eating and stuff like that. And then we're gonna take off and we're gonna head all the way over to Boone. Now that's gonna be the long stretch of the ride from Kitty Hawk on over to Boone. We're gonna take some back roads and stuff like that. So we're planning a good 2.5 day trip, pretty much. So if you're interested, I already have some people who have showed some interest. So we're gonna put together a nice little group, and as I said, it'll be sometime in June. You'll have some more information about that coming. But again, you can hit the inbox. You can always hit the number that's scrolling at the bottom of the screen 24/7. You can also send text to that number if you have questions or even you had comments for the show. You can hit us up there. Dan, you're gonna be in North Carolina. Oh man, late June. You gotta hit me up, brother. Because if you coming through my state, we got to show you some love. All right. When we was traveling from I-10 end to end, we came through Arizona, and my man, Big Country, was like, "Yo, you got to stop in AZ," and so we did, and he blessed us, man. Filled up the tank and everything, and rolled us out for about a good 150, 200 miles. Just brothers, just pounding out there on that highway, man. Just fellowshipping, man. It was really beautiful. And so he said, when brothers come through your state, that's what you do. You buy a tank and you burn a tank. And I say, yo, bro, I'm gonna follow suit because each one reach one, each one teach one. What you done for me, I think I can do for somebody else. All right. So Dan, if you're coming into the North Carolina area, I don't care what part of North Carolina it is. I need for you to let me know. And me and my bros, we're gonna come meet up with you. We're gonna fill your tank up. We're gonna feed you, and then we're gonna ride with you. How about that? Okay. And that goes for anybody. I'm just saying, I don't care if you're white, black, orange, gray, multicolored, big, fat, short, little. I don't care. I don't care because I promise you, we got more in common than we do have differences. That's what I found out in life, And I've met some people and that I never thought that I would say I had anything in common with. But the reality is, most of the time, we've got more in common than we don't. Because at the end of the day, man, we just people. We just people, and we try to blame it on color. We try to blame it on race. We try to blame it on background. We try to blame it on all kinds of things. But at the end of the day, it's just we just all people, man. We just all people. So I think I'm gonna get up out of here, man. I think I've said enough for tonight. I want to encourage someone who may feel as though they are living in sin. I want you to know that there's a way out of that sin. Okay. And sometimes I said I was gonna quit, but I can't quit, man, because here's the deal, man. Sometimes we get into stuff and we feel like we stuck. I had a conversation with a relative some years ago and died tragically because he felt as though he was stuck. He felt as though he couldn't get out of what he was in, even though I pleaded and I begged and I tried everything that I could. I'm not going to say it fell on deaf ears, but it seems like he had more pulling on him than he had pushing him. You know, and so we've got to understand it doesn't matter where we are in life, it doesn't matter what we're doing, even, there is always a way out. Okay. There's always a way out, man. And so, Kingdom Alignment Motorcycle Ministry is, one of the reasons we do what we do is because we want to present that way out for someone who may feel as though they have no way out, because sometimes when you're living this life, and as I said earlier, let's see here. Well, I will be in your area, brother. I'm supposed to be coming through there, and matter of fact, next month, April. So I'm going to messenger you, and I'm gonna messenger you when I get done, and we'll swap numbers, brother, and we'll try to see if we can choreograph or coordinate these dates so that we make sure we don't miss each other. Okay. So what was I saying? Sometimes we feel as though we're stuck, but the reality is, man, we're never stuck. There's always a way out. There's always a way out. I think back into my days where I was, in them streets. And again, folk think they know your testimony. You know what you've been told. Let's keep that real. But I can remember back in my days when I was in them streets, and I was presented with that struggle of getting out, that struggle of doing what I knew to be right. But I had been when you do something for so long, even when you want to do different, you feel as though you can't do different because you become that person, if you will. Paul said it this way: the good that I would do, I find myself not doing. And that's a dangerous place, man. He said there's a war in my members. And definitely there was a war. Back in the day, we used to watch cartoons, at least I did, Tom and Jerry. And on Tom and Jerry, I remember he would have this little angel that would pop up right here, and that little angel was like, don't do it. It was telling him to do what was good. And then he had that little red devil that would pop up on this shoulder, right? So now he's got these two entities, if you will, and one is trying to pull him this way, the other one's trying to pull him this way. And so there's a war in our members sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And so we got to be extremely careful what we listen to, who we listen to. And we have to be careful that we don't back ourselves into a corner. How do you back yourself into a corner, you ask? I'm glad you asked. One of the ways we back ourselves into a corner is when we surround ourselves only by those who are doing what we're doing. Case in point, if you're a hustler, if you're a drug dealer, if you're out there doing, stuff that you ain't supposed to be doing, and everybody that does that, you got to have somebody that's saying, hey, bro, you could do differently. You can do differently. You can't shut everybody down just because they're not doing what you do. I think that you need to strategically have some people that can speak into your life, even though it might not be what you want to hear. Sometimes it's what you need to hear. I'm just saying. I remember I had a young man, well, he was older than me, but he had already gotten out of the game. You know, he had a little business going on that he was doing. Man, I can go on for days talking about the different people that impacted my life, man. Some of them don't even realize how much they did. But this one brother in particular, he put me on to somebody else. And this brother, he was the one who placed that book in my hand I told you guys about a few shows back. Makes you want to holler. And that book, it did something for me. I read that book and it touched me in such a way. And when I think back, what happened was there were certain layers that had begun to be peeled back, so that the real me could get some fresh air and some sunlight, if you will, because we go through life sometimes and we get so deep. There was a movie In Too Deep, and that's what we do. Sometimes we get in too deep, and so God is a God of wisdom. He's a God of I'm telling you, and he will put people in your path. And when he puts them in your pathway, you have to be very careful that you don't reject them, because you could be rejecting your very your very sanity, if you will, the very thing that came to save you. All right. And so anyway, I'm gonna let you go, because this is stuff that's going to be in the book. It's going to get juicy. It's going to get deep. It's going to reveal a lot of stuff. And so we'll save some for the book. I can't tell you everything. But Dan says wisdom to identify. Yeah, there you go. That part right there, Dan. Wisdom to identify divine appointments. And could I say that sometimes that divine appointment, it doesn't play out like, the heavens open and the Lord speaks, "This is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased. I have sent him thither to you." Sometimes it ain't like that. Sometimes it's a disagreement. hmm Sometimes it's a disagreement. I've had disagreements. One in particular, where it was a hot disagreement, right? But at the same time, it was a divine disagreement, because it wouldn't let me rest, and it just played and played and played and played and played in my mind. And I love it because the word of the Lord says, my word will not return unto me void, but it will accomplish what I've sent it out to do. Ha! Look at here, somebody. God sent a word for you on today, to reveal to you that there is a better way. All right, there's a better way. All right, I'm gonna get out of here, let you go. If it is you and you say, "Yo, Retro, man, I think there's a better way for me, but I'm stuck. I think there's a better way for me, but I'm confused, or I think there's a better way for me, but I'm not really sure what I do from now, where I go from here, and so on and so forth." And yo, we can talk about it. I can share my story. I can give you the advice that I think is of the Lord, and we can just go from there. Because you never know what God is trying to do. And in closing, all right, be careful that you don't put it off too late. Because I learned from an old song, I think it was Annie. Yeah, Annie. Yeah, Annie. Yeah. She said, tomorrow is always a day away. And so if you're waiting for tomorrow to do what you need to do today, you'll never get it, because tomorrow is always a day away. Do it today, folks. I don't know who I'm talking to, but don't prolong. Make the apology, make the change, make the turnaround, repent, do what you got to do today, because tomorrow, not only is it always a day away, but it's also not promised. It's your boy Retro with you, and that's it. I can't get no deeper, and yeah, I just it that part right there. All right. So I'm going to get out of here and let you go. Let me see what I got here. I guess we'll go ahead and hit our little intro. We didn't hit it coming in, but we're gonna hit it going out. Um, so yeah, keep it jiggy, y'all. Keep it jiggy. It's your boy Retro. And on that note, for real, oh, you know what? I can't leave yet. I'm getting ready to, though. I'm getting ready to. But before I do leave, I want you guys to make sure you remember that on the 21st of May, okay, the 21st of May, we're going to have the ride that we were talking about. We did the interview with uh, Thomas Smith Sr., and I do apologize because half of the flyer is cut off here because of the because of the format. But you can find this on my page. Okay, you can find it on my page, And let me stop this from scrolling because it's taking up some of the screen. Okay, so it takes place at the Tabernacle Baptist Church, 519 West 19th Ave in Gastonia, North Carolina, and that happens on May 21st. Okay, this is the Thomas Cricket Smith IV Scholarship Foundation ride. This is open for cars and bikes. All right, you got an old school Chevy, you got an old school Ford, you got an old school Dodge. It doesn't matter. Bring that thing on out there. We're gonna have some Mustangs out there. I'm gonna have Big Bertha out there. That's my Buick, y'all. My '66. I already told my son. I said, look, I need you to drive the Buick. Take it, yeah, bring it on down because I'm gonna be on Ruby Red, you know. And so what you do is you come on out with your motorcycle, $10 registration. You can register before or you can do it at the gate. It doesn't matter. We would prefer that you do it ahead of time just because. And then if you have a passenger, go on and bring a passenger. It's only an extra $5 for them. Same thing with the cars, $10 per car and then $5 per passenger. And all of the proceeds are going to the Scholarship Foundation. Okay. Uh, as of now, to date, there will be 3 recipients of the scholarship. Okay. Now, if you guys come out and support this thing the way we are hoping you will, next year, not only will we potentially be able to give more scholarships, but we can make the amount even larger. Okay. This is why we are pushing this, and this is why we are driving this home. You're going to hear a whole lot more about the Cricket Foundation. You'll be hearing a whole lot more here on the Retro Philosophy Show. And if you are a part of a motorcycle ministry, a motorcycle club, a social club, a riding club, if you ain't a part of a club, you just got a scooter, I don't care what you got, we want you to come down to Gastonia on May the 21st. Right now, registration starts at 10 a.m. and kickstands up at 1 p.m. So from 10 to 1, what you're going to be able to do after you register is you can walk around the facility and you can check out the cars and the motorcycles that are lined up. And as they are lining up, and it's going to be like a mini car show before we go on the benefit ride. Okay. Now, me and my VP Lowrider, my road captain, my Black Ops, we went out yesterday and we scouted out the whole ride. And I tell you, it's going to be a really nice ride. We're going to go through some neighborhoods. We're going to go through some main streets. There's going to be quite a few curves and turns. So we want you guys to make sure you come on out and check this thing out, man. It's going to be a really, really good time. All right. So that's my spiel right there. We're going to get Thomas back on here. We went out Saturday. So make sure you go over to the YouTube channel. You can also go to my Facebook page and you can see a portion of the interview that we started, and we'll have him on later on as well. So just stay tuned. Keep it locked to the Retro Philosophy Show. Anytime we go live, make sure you hit that play button. Okay. And on that note, for real, your boy is out. Thank you for pressing play, taking time out of your show, taking time out of your day to watch the show.
So you're a philosopher? Yes.
Good evening, good morning, good night, good day. It's your boy Retro. Thank you for pressing play.
So you're a philosopher? Yes. I think very deeply. Yes.